around. We're moving over to ESPN 2. You can come join.
This is the home of the reigning national champions. And while this season has been a rocky ride for UConn, the fervor for their Huskies has not waned. The students pitched tense, braved heavy rains last night, and they're in whiteout conditions inside Gample Pavilion, ready for Syracuse to roll in tonight, and a house party Husky style in stores.
College Game Day is covered by State Farm.
Gample Pavilion is the more intimate of UConn's two home courts. Huskies might put more numbers in the Hartford Civic Center, but this is the more frenzied house on campus and a place where Syracuse, making a rare visit tonight, has never won. 0-4. The Huskies have just flat owned the orange in this building, a place Boeheim would rather not visit. In 1995, Ray Allen led UConn to an 11-point win in what was a meeting of top 10 teams. Same look, different glasses for Jimmy. 10 years later, the Huskies blew the orange out by 18 points. Denham Brown leading the way with 21 for UConn. In recent years, it's been a little bit more regular for Syracuse to come in here. In 07, neither team was ranked. A 7-point victory for UConn, the only game decided by single digits. 5 Huskies were in double figures, and 3 years ago, Huskies #1 in the land. A.J. Price, a team high 17, and it was a double-figure victory for Kimball Walker and the Huskies as he finished off that shot there. And on campus, they're hoping that UConn can indeed beat Syracuse, make it 5-0 here in Gample Pavilion. This has been one of the great series in Big East history. Syracuse's future is in the ACC. Wondering about UConn, it has been one of the great ones. Met 13 times in the Big East tournament. We will relive the most memorable of those coming up a little bit later on in College Game Day. Glad to have you with us in stores. Reese Davis, Hubert Davis, Digger Phelps, and Jay Billis, where College Game Day is coming at you in 3D. The game tonight at 9 Eastern will be in 3D. Did you think when we started here 8 years ago that you would ever be on a big screen in 3D?
That's got to be ugly.
You said that. I did, by the way.
I mean, being in 3D is very frightening. And it's not Halloween.
I think you still have your looks here, Fox.
This is the best. It started here. And from this, way back 8 years ago, this is what we have today. They haven't let up, and they know it.
This is a great atmosphere for a game for sure. It's going to be a very difficult place for the Orange to play tonight. But over the course of this season, as we wind our way just a couple of weeks away from Selection Sunday, clearly Kentucky and Syracuse have played better up to this point than everyone else. In your judgment, Hubert, are the Wildcats and the Orange, who we'll see tonight, head and shoulders above everybody else in the country?
I think so right now, but I don't think it means anything in terms of having success in the NCAA tournament. I mean, this is what we do every week. We talk about Syracuse, and we talk about Kentucky, and then we talk about North Carolina before they lost to Duke. All those teams are talented, but I think it's going to be the same thing this year as the previous 2 years. And we've talked about this. I think there's a team that we're not talking about right now that is going to get the right matchup and is going to get hot in the NCAA tournament and is going to make a run. At this time, 2 years ago, we weren't talking about Duke, but they got hot and they got the right matchup. At this time, we weren't talking about UConn making a run and win a national championship. They got the right matchup and they got hot at the right time. I think the same thing is going to happen this year, even though Syracuse and Kentucky are head and shoulders above everybody else right now on February 25th.
When you talk about that right time, now's the time of the year when you put together your defense. You may add a new wrinkle like a zone defense to go with your man-man. But more importantly, when I look at Syracuse, I still think they've got shooting issues, and this could bring them down. Even when they played at Louisville Louisville won the other week. It was 52-51. They shot 35%. Their three best players to me on the perimeter with experience. When you look at Joseph, in 9 games, he shot under 40%. You look at Jardine, in 6 games, he shot under 25%. And the guy that's been in the slump all year to me, Brandon Trish, 14 games under 40%. That you can have the best defense in the world. The zone can work, blocking shots and steals, but some night, either Sweet 16 or Final 8, they go down because their offense isn't there.
If this were like the NBA playoffs and we had 7-game series, I think that Kentucky and Syracuse would be playing for the championship, but it's not. So just like last year, like Hubert said, Ohio State and Kansas were the 2 best teams heading into the tournament. I think everybody agreed with that. But because UConn had a terrific draw, they had a nice path coming out of the West, you thought, you know what, they can get to the finals. They can get to the Final Four, get to the final. I still thought Kansas would win the national championship. But something like that can happen again this year, and I agree. It's probably somebody we're not talking about because the NCAA tournament is not about who's the best team. It's about the team that best navigates its own path. You don't have to beat everybody in the field. You have to navigate your path the best.
But, Jay, like you brought up earlier, let's look at that East bracket last year. Syracuse knocks it off Marquette to get to the East. And then you add Ohio State, North Carolina, and Kentucky. That, to me, was the power bracket, but it wasn't the right bracket.
Yeah, well, the committee seeded it wrong. There's no way Kentucky should have been a 4 seed there. No way.
Whatever the path is this year for UConn, the path that they followed to get here has been most unusual. It's been an up-and-down rocky season, and once again tonight, the Huskies will be without their Hall of Fame coach, Jim Calhoun. Calhoun, however, is expected to return next Saturday to Gample Pavilion when the Huskies take on Pittsburgh on Senior Day. I'm sure you're aware by now that Jim has been suffering severe lower back pain due to spinal stenosis. He's expected to have a surgical procedure on Monday aimed at alleviating some of that and hopefully helping him resume his coaching duties. You see a member not only of the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, but the College Basketball Hall of Fame as well. And Connecticut this year been good at home, 4-1 at Gample, but they haven't beaten a ranked Big East opponent. Lately, they've been on a slide. Perhaps in some minds, the season nearly saved by a 30-footer from Shabazz Napier against Villanova on Monday night. And their 38.3% opponent field goal percentage is still second in the Big East. They still are a strong defensive team. But the question, I think, for UConn right now, with Calhoun being out again, look, George Blaney is a remarkably accomplished coach. Nobody's suggesting otherwise. But what impact do you think it's had, the uncertainty on the fact that Calhoun's been out and he's had to leave in the middle of the season?
I think it's had a tremendous impact. You know, the players don't know exactly when he's coming back. We certainly hope that that's right, that he'll be back next Saturday. That is great news. But when you don't know exactly what's going to happen day to day, when things change, when there's not that sense of normalcy, it's just not the same. And with a young team like this that lacks, in my judgment, lacks leadership. And we've talked about this before. Last year they had Kemba Walker, who is the Batman, everybody else was Robin. This year they've got all Robins. They need somebody to lead. And not having Calhoun there is a big blow to this team. If they had him, I think they'd be better.
Yeah, George Blaney is an experienced coach. He was head coach at Seton Hall, head coach at Holy Cross, but he's got a completely different personality. And that's why they're 5-4, since when you take a look at, hey, he's taken over. But the fact is this, when I look at what really makes me concerned about UConn, I think they've got the talent. I think Boatwright missing 9 games really hurt them as a point guard. We see how Rivers has developed. Trish at Kentucky is Marcus Teague at Kentucky has developed. But more importantly, this team still has talent. If you take it front line with Drummonds and Oriaki, the perimeter guys are there, Napier as well as Boatwright and Lamb. But the X factor to me, Roscoe Smith. So Blaney can still get it done. This is a big game for them tonight. They were close to Syracuse for 34 minutes. They can win this game tonight and get things going in the positive.
Coach, I agree with you in terms of hope. I just think they have too many distractions. I think they have the most distractions of any team in the country. You know, Jay talked about Coach Calhoun. They don't know when he's coming back. They don't know if he's coming back. We talk about the academic progress report not allowing UConn to be able to participate in the NCAA tournament next year. Everybody, every kid in that locker room is thinking, do I stay? Do I go to the NBA? Do I transfer? And then you're talking about a team that has 11 freshmen and sophomores. I mean, this is a team that's lost 7 out of their last 10. It's February 25th. And this is a team trying to figure out who they are. They've had 10 different starting lineups. They don't have chemistry. That's a lot of distractions. You have a team now that is thinking a lot more stuff other than winning and improving for the rest of the season.
Your whole mantra about them is they can't fix their basketball problems until they fix their chemistry problems.
Exactly.
They had one shot of Villanova. Not enough for you?
Not enough.
It's enough for me.
No, they were down by 18 in the first half against a Villanova team that has struggled throughout the whole year without 2 of their starters. Yes, they won. Great. That's awesome.
If he missed that shot, we would have been roasting them.
But he made the shot, and that could be the spark to light the fire. They know they can beat Syracuse here tonight.
Right, I'm sure they can win this one game.
They beat Syracuse. Yeah, they got to go to Providence. They finish up with Pitt at home, and Calhoun's coaching. They're ready for the Big East, and they're ready for the NCAA tournament.
You're hired, by the way.
I'll take it.
I think the other thing, too, in terms of the future, Calhoun returning could at least answer some of those questions, at least for the present, about his future, as they have a new athletic director, Ward Manuel, coming in as they set the direction of this program for the future. Okay, here's what we have in store for you today. Vanderbilt and Kentucky. The Commodores had a lead on the Wildcats late in Nashville. They play at noon. Missouri and Kansas, big-time headliner, 4 o'clock Eastern time. North Carolina and Virginia on ESPN as well. And then Nebraska and Michigan State also play tonight. So, as you look at the slate of games, you know what we have. Jay, what's the end of the day headline?
The one thing that can keep Syracuse from winning a national championship is rebounding. This team is getting out-rebounded by 4 per game in Big East play. They allow 15 offensive rebounds. That's a 40% offensive rebound rate for their opponents. That leads to almost 12 second-chance points. Syracuse does a great job in transition, most efficient offense in the Big East. They need to rebound.
It's payback time for Kansas. They lost that game, 11-0 run for Missouri at the end. They lose 74-71 today. Thomas Robinson inside, making things happen with a big double-double. Tayshaun Taylor taking it to the hole, driving on the outside and the inside. They know what's at stake. Don't turn the ball over. It's payback time. Get it done. Missouri goes down at Kansas.
Well, for me, it's Kansas will win its 8th straight Big 12 regular season championship today when they beat Missouri at home. Thomas Robinson and Jeff Withey, I agree with you, coach, will dominate inside. Tayshaun Taylor will continue to play great at the point guard position. Their lack of depth this year gave everybody a chance. This was the year to get Kansas in the Big 12. Didn't happen because Thomas Robinson has played like a player of the year, and Kansas knows how to win.
Now, how about this? Because these guys are far too humble to ever brag on themselves, I will point out the last time we did the end of the day headline, look what happened. Jay said Anthony Davis, the nation's MVP. He backed it up against Vanderbilt. Richard said Michigan State would end Ohio State's home winning streak. They backed it up. And Hubert said Wichita State's a top mid-major, and they crushed Creighton on the road. You guys can thank me later for not bringing up the times when you didn't necessarily have the headline right up. No, that never happened. We can only hope to get a thriller the way UConn and Syracuse played in the Big East tournament back in 2009, what it was like courtside. That game was improbable, this moment virtually impossible. No way Cory Weissman should have been able to take one more shot. Wait till you hear the things that unfolded for him to do it. And the toughest call in basketball, block or charge. These guys don their stripes, and a Hall of Fame nominated official will step in to tell our guys if they would make good referees or not. There's Hank Nichols. He's ready to tee up Digger if he gets out of line. Or Hubert. Run him, Hank.
He's
run him. Run him. Double team. Bye, Hubert. Sub.
Aaron, I was able to save you hundreds.
Yeah, discount, double check, I know. I'm kind of over that move.
So are we.
What?
It's a little, soft.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Yeah, it is. They wanted something with a little
Like what?
Do it with me. Ready? Discount, double check.
I like it. It's terrifying.
Right?
Matthews.
What's up, dude?
He plays football professionally.
Hey, Rogers! Move! Matthews!
You could save big with a discount double check, only from State Farm.
Why did I roll over my IRA to Scottrade?
For starters, it didn't cost me anything, and I got a $100 cash bonus for rolling over by April 16th.
I like bonuses.
Plus, at Scottrade, there are thousands of commission-free investments.
And if I need help, I can find it online, by phone, or at one of over 500 Scottrade locations.
It's why more investors with IRAs are saying, I'm with Scottrade.
Really?
You're joking.
Rocket balls.
Say it again.
Rocket balls.
Rocket ball?
Is that thing really coming out?
I'm just gonna call it RBZ. How about that?
What does it do?
That's the long 3-wood.
That's ridiculous. Play me one more. I cannot believe.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I can say it now. Rocket balls. That is unbelievable.
Immortals, the first must-own Blu-ray of the year, March 6th.
The Cadillac CTS Sports Sedan was designed with near-perfect weight balance from front to back. And back to front. Giving you exceptional control from left to right and right to left. The Cadillac CTS. We don't just make luxury cars. We make Cadillacs.
February 85, $5 footlong.
Now through the 29th, get any regular footlong as a $5 footlong. Hurry in. Subway. Eat fresh.
Bait cast reels take some getting used to, and you'll want a quality reel to help avoid backlash. You might just want to trade that one in.
During the Bass Pro Shop Spring Fishing Classic, save up to an extra $100 on a new reel when you trade one in. Like an extra $20 off this Carbon Light bait caster.
Do not run with these.
Jimmy?
Steve?
College Game Day is covered by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And in part by Scottrade. See for yourself why so many investors are saying, I'm with Scottrade. And TaylorMade. Performance makes us the #1 driver in golf.
Delectable treat at the UConn Dairy Bar. That's a big Sunday. Hubert would like that, but without the lactose. Insiders tell me, however, that the way to go is peppermint. Peppermint, the preferred flavor there at the UConn Dairy Bar. It's time to take a look at our noise meter, fueled by Diet Mountain Dew. Diet Mountain Dew, the way to go after a trip to the UConn Dairy Bar, I would say. Fuel the frenzy. What the whiteout students are doing here. Man, have they turned out in droves as we return for a UConn men's game for the first time since 2005, and they will be rooting on a couple of their favorites. Alex Oriaki and Jeremy Lamb will play Know Your Teammate. There's a little pressure on the Know Your Teammate guys this week. Going to tell you why coming up a little bit later on in College Game Day. Now, there's also some pressure to try to live up to one of the great games in Big East tournament history, UConn and Syracuse in 2009.
Habib did make contact with Flynn. It's an errant pass. Devendorf at the buzzer. Oh! Good! They will check it!
How about the call from our buddy Sean McDonough, but as they looked at the replay, John Cowell calls the basket no good. Rightfully so. We would go deep into overtime. Fourth overtime, Johnny Flynn finds Paul Harris. Harris didn't have much lift at this point, Jay.
Nobody did. The tremendous courage those players showed was just amazing.
We would go to another overtime, and UConn a chance late.
Price from very deep, off the mark, in the corner, Adrian, no! Overtime number 6. Yo, Adrian could not deliver the knockout punch.
The 6th overtime, tied at 110. Oh, remember the days, even without overtime, we had games in the 110s. Syracuse first possession. How about Andy Rautins? Their first lead since regulation. They go on to win it, 127 to 117 in 6 overtime. Just one of the more remarkable games, certainly in Big East tournament history and in the history of the sport. It lasted just 14 minutes shy of 4 hours, ended at 1:22 in the morning, which, by the way, was the perfect time for Bill Raftery to walk out of Madison Square Garden. He's combined for 102 points in 6 overtimes, shot it well over 100 times, 103 field goal attempts in the 6 overtime sessions. And our buddy Jay, you were privileged to be courtside with Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery for that remarkable game. What's the one thing when somebody mentions that game, first thing that jumps to your mind?
I had to go to the bathroom.
You didn't have to get quite that personal about it.
Wow. After the game, I mean, it was
sort of like now?
Yeah, exactly. It was such a remarkable game. There's so many things you could point to, but after the game, when Madison Square Garden had emptied out, it was after 2 in the morning, Jim Boeheim walked out of the tunnel right behind the scorer's table, and we were leaving on the other side. So it was Raftery, McDonough, and myself, and he holds his arms up and he goes, "You think we're in the tournament now?" And I'll never forget that, just how poignant that was after such a brawl that they had in that game. It was an honor to be there, and I know it was an honor for the players and coaches to be a part of. It was a tremendous game.
You know, certainly what happened after regulation made that game memorable. And last night in the Big East, there was a little moment at the end of regulation, or actually after regulation, that was somewhat memorable. In the West Virginia-Marquette game, Marquette stormed back from a double-digit deficit. They had the lead late. West Virginia trying to get the winning shot. And Marquette, as they've done so many times this season, hangs on after rallying. They win at 61-60. Now, while they played country roads at the end of the game, Buzz Williams did a little two-step. Got 13th Big East win. Buzz, I mean, the crowd went mental when he did that at West Virginia, and he was left to explain himself afterwards.
Well, that was very unprofessional. I apologize. That's not a great representation. It's not a good representation. It's a bad representation of our program and of our institution, so I apologize for that.
Well, that wrapped up the week that was. I got to say, I still laughed, even though Buzz is right. He probably shouldn't have done it, but I'd rather see Buzz dance than Digger dance.
Please.
The week that was, Ole Miss and Tennessee. Oh, Jordan McRae flushing. A lot of people have been doing that to Ole Miss of late. How about Michigan State and Purdue, Jake?
Unbelievable. Brandon Dawson, just a freshman. We were watching this game, and he was at the free throw line. My 15-year-old son said, "How old is that guy, Dad?" And I said, "He's a teenager, 18, 19. Oh, my God.
Exactly. Kevin Payne goes to the Elias Dunk Bureau. Elias Harris with the dunk. And Binghamton. How about Binghamton getting a win? The Fighting Kornheisers, Digger, under Martin Megan, they beat Vermont.
This is history. I think Tony will have that right as the top dog on PTI on Monday.
Binghamton, well, they did lose to Albany later, but at least they snapped that 0-26 record and get their first win of the season. UConn and Villanova late in the first half. Andre Drummond, Hubert, I think he lost sight of the clock.
Yeah, he did. And much like 4.4 seconds to go, and Jay, you did the game that reminded me of Roscoe.
Right. Well, the guys, his teammates are calling him Roscoe now.
They are.
A little better clock management later on after Ty Johnson tied it at 70 for Villanova. Shabazz, well, I don't know, Shabazz Napier had more time here, too.
Yeah, look at this clock management. It went in.
That's been Digger's whole
It
thing.
went in. It went in. Yes, it did. It wasn't a miss. It's not one of these, what if he didn't make it?
Disbelief. An incredulous look from Villanova. 49ers head coach Jim Harbaugh. He's the brother-in-law to Tom Crean of Indiana. So the NFL Coach of the Year.
In the huddle.
No, they put him on chair duty during timeout.
That's pretty cool. You got an NFL coach putting your stool down. That's pretty cool.
That's a Michigan quarterback.
Hey, look at this. For the first time in 27 years, former Arkansas player Jimmy Dykes took a charge in an Arkansas game against Alabama.
That should have been me.
So we should have been there. Here's Dayton and Xavier, a little action before the game.
So glad to have you with us tonight. Along with Steve Wolf, I'm James Bates. Well, they're ready to rock. Hey, man. Woo! Give me a shoot. Oh.
I guess
okay,
we're standing
they're ready
up.
to rock here. Let's keep it going in the Cintas Center. You see how rough things are? Woo! Wolf, I'm James Bates.
Hey, James Bates, the former Florida football player, member of the 96 National Championship team. But, hey, James, not so easy when you take off all those pads, now is it?
When Jimmy Dykes went down, a lot of play-by-play guys were cheering, you know. When the analyst is taken out and the play-by-play guy has it all to himself, they are happy.
That was his first charge at Arkansas.
You know, normally, Hubert and I would have been calling that game. I told Jimmy that Levi Randolph would have been seriously injured because of the lateral quickness Hubert has. He would have gotten right out of the way.
Yeah, he would have gotten right out of the way.
I would have taken the charge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I would have been able to go to the offensive end.
Results this week, Kentucky went on the road, won a tough game at Mississippi State, handled their business late. Syracuse got a challenge from South Florida. See, Missouri fell against Kansas State there at Kansas today. Duke and Kansas also coming up with a win. There were also some other memorable moments from this week that was Pat Knight, the head coach at Lamar, Wednesday night after a 62-52 home loss to Stephen F. Austin. His team did not shoot the ball well, shot less than 30%. They lost 3 out of 4 after a 4-game winning streak. Pat Knight displeased with his team, particularly his seniors in the postgame.
I'm unhappy with these seniors. That's what I'm unhappy with. It has nothing to do with X's and O's. We got the worst group of seniors right now that I've ever been associated with. Their mentality's awful. Their attitude's awful. It wouldn't surprise me if they lost the rest of them. If they show up like they did tonight, there's no way we'll win another game. It's just like they don't care. You know, it amazes me. And I don't think they get it. You act this way in the real world, you're going to be homeless without a job.
There was a coach that told me one time when he talked to the media, he said, sometimes I'm talking to you guys in the media, sometimes I'm talking to my fans, and sometimes I'm talking to my players because it gets their attention if they get the message through the media. The question is, Hubert, in your judgment, do you think that was too much in terms of trying to get a message to a team from Pat Knight?
Well, I mean, he was talking, but he wasn't communicating. I mean, first of all, Lamar is 17-11. Last year they were 13-17, so they're playing better. I mean, this is the first winning season that Lamar's had since 2008. But the way that Coach Knight communicated, I thought, one, he put too much blame, all the blame on the players, and I think that's poor judgment on as a coach. And then the second point, I don't think it's going to help. I mean, I don't think the seniors on this team or the players are going to rally behind and go, you know what, Coach, thanks for calling me out on national TV. Now I'm going to start doing the things that you want to do. Those players are going to quit on them. That was the wrong way to communicate. That was the wrong way to talk to your team if you want the best out of your team in their next game and for the rest of the season.
Well, knowing Pat Knight since he was a baby, I think the frustration of those seniors has affected him. And the fact is this, when you're a coach, I just feel this. You do what you have to do to motivate. Yes, they've got a winning season. Yes, they got a chance now to win their conference tournament and get an NCAA bid. This is the last 2 weeks as we're locking them in the championship week for them to get focused. So for him to call out the seniors in the press, it's senior leadership to me. And whatever he wants to say, that's him being him. And that's the most important thing. What if we agree or disagree, he's got to get this message across before they get in their conference tournament and get beat, and they're not going to get an at-large.
Yeah, you know, we've always talked about Coach to your personality, and he called the players out. He was matter-of-fact about it. Would I have done it? No. I would not do something like that in that manner. I would do it privately, and I'd probably do it at a higher volume level than he just did. And it's going to be a test of their trust level. Do the players trust him enough to be able to handle that and respond to it positively? Because Hubert's right. It could go the other way. I mean, that's a 50-50 proposition depending on the trust level between the players and the coaches.
But knowing him, he's done this before. And this is where the frustration comes in now because he's thinking NCAA bid. If we lose the conference tournament and seniors don't show up, we're not going to get an at-large. We're going to the NIT.
Well, I'll tell you what. Our next segment, if you don't bring it, you could be homeless.
Okay.
You know, I think the thing that a coach hopes when he does that, he hopes that the players bow up at him almost.
Exactly.
It's like, I'll show you.
Yes.
I'll show you who has pride. Now, you can easily debate. No, I don't disagree with you. I think it might have been excessive.
Okay.
But I think that's
See you later, Coach.
No, I'm just saying I think that's his hope.
Yeah.
No, you can certainly cross the line. Judgment Week continues Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. North Carolina and Virginia, 4 o'clock Eastern Time in 3D tonight, in addition to HD. Syracuse and UConn here in Gample Pavilion, the second-ranked team in the country, coming on the road and trying to get their first win here in Gample. College Game Day rolls on from Stores. You're going to see a shot that was perhaps the most meaningful shot, at least from an emotional standpoint, of the entire season at any level.
This was part of my life now, and I was going to make it back. I was convinced that I was going to be, you know, a basketball player again. I thought maybe I just might be a little worse, but I was convinced that if I put the hard work in, I would be, you know, back on the court with my teammates.
First and second round coverage of the Masters coming in April on ESPN.
We hear you. That's why Boost has a monthly unlimited plan with shrinking payments. So there's nothing to fear. Boost Mobile. Be heard.
It's President's Day at your GMC dealer. And now's the time to see our smaller SUV with 32 highway miles per gallon standard. Or the first ever Acadia Denali, our newest 8-passenger crossover. They treat every family like the first family. Celebrate President's Day and get 0% financing for 60 months, plus $500 bonus cash on any 2012 Acadia.
Maine is known for its lighthouses, rocky shore, and most importantly, its lobster. It's the tastiest, the sweetest, the freshest. Nobody can ever get enough.
It's Lobster Fest at Red Lobster, the one time of year you can savor 12 exciting lobster entrees, like Lobster Lover's Dream or New Maine Lobster and Shrimp Trio.
Hot, right out of the shell. I love lobster. I'm Laura McLennan from Spruce Head, Maine, and I see food differently.
At Enterprise, we take renting a car personally.
And we want your rental experience to be perfect.
But if there ever is a problem, we all have the power to make it right.
I don't have to find a manager. I don't have to make a phone call.
I can make it right. I can make it right. I can make it right.
We all can.
At Enterprise, we live customer service.
Let us show you what that means.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
How did Tony make a name for himself at Daytona?
4 in a row, baby. Great job, buddy. Great job.
He won 4 straight nationwide season openers here. But that was then. Now Danica Patrick looks to make her own statement in her first year as a NASCAR regular. This season, anyone can make a name on the biggest stage in racing. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona, today at noon Eastern on ESPN. Presented by GoDaddy.com.
Going on right now for all active U.S. military and inactive reservists. Get as low as 0.9% APR, up to 60 months on your favorite Lexus. And this offer can be combined with our existing $750 military rebate. Thank you for your service. From Lexus Stevens Creek and LexusStevensCreek.com.
From the excitement of the NHL Winter Classic to the race for the Stanley Cup, Xfinity gives you a front row seat to the NHL all season long. With NHL Network, you experience hockey like this 24/7. We put you right there for all the top action around the league. With Xfinity, the best seat in the house is in your house. Get NHL Network for live games every week and 24/7 NHL coverage when you upgrade to Digital Preferred TV. Just $9.99 more a month for 12 months. Call today.
Going on right now for all active U.S. military and inactive reservists. Get as low as 0.9% APR, up to 60 months on your favorite Lexus. And this offer can be combined with our existing $750 military rebate. Thank you for your service. From Lexus Stevens Creek and LexusStevensCreek.com.
Welcome back to College Game Day, covered by State Farm.
Boy, what do you think when you see Bobby the bus driver rolling that big thing down the highway in the Nutmeg State? That is a place where Billis is treated like a boss. Inside the College Game Day bus, presented by State Farm. It goes all around the country with us every week. Jay catching up on the latest Hollywood gossip, or perhaps the latest quotes from Jeezy. State of success, Syracuse has had plenty of it this year. Their 20-0 start was the best in school history. They've been ranked in the top 2 in every poll since December 12th. They've already clinched that coveted double bye in the Big East tournament, and they lead the nation in turnover margin. Syracuse, number 2 in the country, and certainly having a terrific season. You know, for just about anybody who's ever played this game at any level, they can understand the sentiment that you would give anything, you'd give everything just to have the opportunity to step on that court one more time. For Cory Weissman, he understands that completely. He had to give everything, not just to step on the court, but just to step again. Greg Garber has the story of a Division III point guard from Gettysburg College who perhaps scored the most unlikely point of the college basketball season.
Back on February 11, Cory Weissman found himself in a place he could have hardly imagined 3 years ago. The Gettysburg College senior point guard stood 15 feet from the rim and contemplated the first point of his college career.
It didn't feel real, and it still doesn't. It feels like it's a storybook.
March 26, 2009. Following their freshman season, Cory and his best friend and teammate, Brendan Trelease, were working out in the weight room.
All of a sudden, my left arm went numb, and I went to lift up weight and wasn't able to. Got a severe headache.
I ran ahead, and I'm peeking the training room. In that 5 seconds, the left side of his body was just completely paralyzed.
Weissman, only 19, had suffered a catastrophic stroke caused by an undetected malformation in his brain.
With somebody that has a hemorrhage, normally 50% of those people have lifelong disabilities of some sort, and about 50% fatality rate.
Did you have any idea how dangerous this was?
I did.
I was having a hard time just getting my head around the whole thing. You know, I don't think I went there.
Weissman's condition stabilized, but the left side of his body was decimated.
Yes, I could do this.
After 11 days, he relocated to a New Jersey rehabilitation center. There, his mother Tina, a physical therapist, reconnected him with basketball.
He was in his wheelchair. I helped him stand up. And there he goes with his right hand leaning on me, trying to balance. I knew that that's what he needed to do to begin to see himself again as himself.
He worked harder than I've ever worked at anything in my life. One of the most profound things I've ever heard him say is, right now he's winning because he's working harder than the stroke.
Cory, a 1,000-point scorer in high school, returned to Gettysburg that fall.
What was his goal?
Play again. Get back on the court.
Did you think that was realistic?
In the beginning, I wasn't sure.
I wasn't able to keep up with my friends walking to class or going to lunch, but for some reason I told him, you know, I was going to be the hardest working player on the scout team.
He started out as the clock operator in practice, and 2.5 years later, after his teammates voted him a captain, he finally got back on the court. On senior day, his left leg still not 100%, Cory Weissman got the opportunity to start the first game of his career.
Three years of hard work. It was what I wanted to do from the start, and I knew I had to work hard to do it, and I finally achieved my goal.
Cory got the ball, he rolled it out of bounds, checked out. You thought that was the end of the Cory Weissman story on senior day for sure.
With less than a minute to go, Coach George Petrie put Weissman back in the game. Then, with 19 seconds left, Washington coach Rob Nugent called a timeout.
Rob Nuge was telling his guys, look, foul Cory so he can get him on the foul line.
Cory Weissman is fouled by Flanagan.
Oh my gosh, he's gone to the line. We're in double bonus. He has 2 shots here.
Sending Cory to the free throw line and making him earn that in front of a large crowd and everybody. You don't get this much in sports, but everybody in the gym rooting for him to make it, still, that's a lot of pressure for a young man who hasn't played, and I don't think he'd want it any other way as a competitor.
Gettysburg is standing. The whole bench is standing. Everyone in the stands is standing.
I'm an incredible free throw shooter, but I was a little nervous on the first one.
The first one is no good.
It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. And I'm just sitting on the line like, he better make this next one.
There was an absolute deafening silence. Everybody just held their breath.
When that ball went through, it was like an explosion of sound that just resonated, and I think everyone had a great cry.
This capped his college basketball career. He finally got on the scoreboard, which he never had a chance to do prior to this.
I may never be the athlete that I was before my stroke, but my attitude towards it is the sky's the limit.
Cory has regained 70% of the function on his left side, and he says his next goal is to play in a men's league. We certainly wish him the best. What a great story that was. College Game Day rolls on from Stores. We'll tell you, is it a charge or a block? Legendary official joins us.
The Capital One Cup congratulates the elite teams and top performances in college athletics. Congratulations to all the NCAA Division I Fall National Champions. These student athletes have fought their hardest to make this a memorable sports season, with 2 more seasons of NCAA Division I college sports to go. Follow your school and check the standings at CapitalOneCup.com to see who will win the Capital One Cup and be the best in men's and women's college sports.
This President's Day, exercise your freedom of choice and choose a different kind of luxury, the Buick kind, like the all-new Verano, unexpected luxury for a car this size, the performance-minded Regal, and the luxurious and fuel-efficient LaCrosse. It's your kind of luxury, and it's only at your local Buick dealer showroom. Now use your $500 bonus cash to get $2,000 total cash back on the 2012 LaCrosse.
Change a regular smelling man into a man who smells like power!
Now, how is this? Wow, you know what? I actually do feel more powerful.
Potato chips! Power! It's me!
When you pay too much for cable, you throw things. When you throw things, people think you have anger issues. When people think you have anger issues, your schedule clears up. When your schedule clears up, you grow a scraggly beard. When you grow a scraggly beard, you start taking in stray animals. And when you start taking in stray animals, you can't stop taking in stray animals. Stop taking in stray animals. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
John Carter, will you fight for us?
I did not cause this, but I will end it!
Championship week begins March 1st. John Carter in theaters March 9th.
When it counts, you lay it all on the line. When it counts, second place is not an option. When it counts, NASCAR is on TNT. The drama of NASCAR all season long on TNT. When it counts, it's on TNT.
The 2011 numbers are in, and the Ford store Morgan Hill is the #1 Ford dealer in the Bay Area. Every one of their 440 vehicles is clearly marked with a bottom line sale price right on the window.
From the excitement of the NHL Winter Classic to the race for the Stanley Cup, Xfinity gives you a front row seat to the NHL all season long. With NHL Network, you experience hockey like this 24/7. We put you right there for all the top action around the league. With Xfinity, the best seat in the house is in your house. Get NHL Network for live games every week and 24/7 NHL coverage when you upgrade to Digital Preferred TV. Just $9.99 more a month for 12 months. Call today.
This is College Game Day, covered by State Farm.
Some serious hardware here at UConn. You see a couple of the national championship trophies, and there's the third one. 3 of them won by Jim Calhoun and UConn, and hoping to hand a national title contender a loss tonight in Syracuse. Jay Billis got to go to work. Witty banter and snappy repartee and 140 characters or less as Billis goes around the country a game every night where he's tweeting from all of them. So follow him and at Jay Billis. Maybe he'll take exception to an official's call, and Hank Nichols will tweet right at him. Nichols, 10 Final Fours, refereed John Wooden's final game, one of the legendary figures in officiating. 22 years as coordinator of officials in college basketball, and he is a Hall of Fame finalist this year. And Hank Nichols joins us now to help us out with perhaps the most difficult call in all of college basketball. Charge block, Hank, is that the toughest thing for an official to call? Charge block, the toughest call for an official?
Yes.
definitely.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to show some plays from this season. We're going to stop the action before the call and have our three guys tell you if it is a charge or a block. So let's look at the first one. Charge or block, you make the call at home. Guy's going to make it here. Jeremy Lamb driving. Zach Price is going to step on Lamb, and there's the call. We blocked out the official. Is it a charge or a block? What do we have? We have 2 charges and a block.
It's not close. That was a block.
Well, let's roll the tape and see what the call was by the official. Here comes Lamb again. Price steps in. Charge.
That's a bad call.
Now, you two guys got it right by what he called. What did you see, Hank, on the charge block?
I saw the defensive player move into the player with the ball.
So it should have been a block.
It should have been a block. But
why don't you move in position so you see it better?
Let me just say this about that call, Reeves.
Okay.
That was almost a tie.
Okay.
And, you know, you can't flip a coin.
And you only see it one time. That was a charge on the floor. Hank and Jay believed it was a block. Okay, let's look at another play, another close play in the Pittsburgh-Syracuse game. You guys look up. You got to see it. You only see it one time here. Here goes Dion Waiters. Lamar Patterson is going to try to come over and play a little help side. Collision, official block. Is it a charge or a block? Hubert says block. Digger says block. Jay says block.
His foot was in the circle.
Digger says foot in the circle, which would make it automatically a block. So let's roll the tape and see if it was a charge or a block in the game. Here comes Waiters again. Patterson establishing position, and they called it a charge. All of you guys said block. What say you?
I say wrong, gentlemen. It was definitely a charge. The rule...
His foot's in the circle.
Why do you think?
The rule says that a player has to have room to go where he wants to go without making contact. This guy is not in the circle. He's not doing anything wrong, and he doesn't get hit in the chest, but he gets hit in the shoulder. He's legally positioned.
Once you hit, the way I look at it, once you hit your takeoff spot, you've won that spot. If the defender hasn't beaten you to the spot when you're into your takeoff, then I think it's a block. I mean, it may be an interpretation issue.
Is that the way it should be called in your judgment?
Well, in my judgment, the guy on defense didn't do anything wrong. He was there. And he got hit.
I don't think he was there. And I think he flopped.
That was closer than the first one.
Okay, does flop matter to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's a hard judgment, how hard the guy gets hit. You know, flopping is a tough deal.
Okay, all right, let's take a look at one that I think this crowd is going to appreciate. Columbia and UConn. From earlier this season, here goes Jeremy Lamb. And, I mean, he is just going to be mean to Mark Cisco. But whole lot of contact there. Is it a charge or a block?
He was in the circle. It's a block.
Block, block, block. Very popular here. Let's roll it back. Here goes Lamb against Cisco. The Cisco systems got hammered. Block called, emphatic call by the official. Did he get it right, Hank?
He got it right because
the circle.
The circle.
Otherwise, if not for the circle.
If the circle's not there, that's a legitimate charge taking in front of the basket, not under it.
Okay, from your standpoint, Hank, the number of games that you've called. I did a game with Bob Knight earlier this week. He can't stand that circle. Thinks they ought to take it up. What do you think?
I always lobbied against the circle. I think it goes against the basic premise of basketball that who gets to his spot first legally is entitled to it. But I guess the injury factor and the safety factor was one of the reasons the Rules Committee did it. But I see just as many charges and collisions with guys now have learned to stand outside the circle.
Is that the first time you, Bob Knight, agreed on anything?
I always used to agree with Bob Knight.
Hank, thank you so much for clearing up some charge block situations, and best of luck also your candidacy for the Hall of Fame.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hank, always a pleasure to have you with us. So Hank Nichols joining us. These guys figured out charge block. We're going to see how well a couple of teammates have figured each other out. Alex Oriaki from UConn having a solid season, a big man inside for the Huskies. He'll be one of our contestants in Know Your Teammate, and the other, the sharpshooting Jeremy Lamb. Lamb going off for 30-plus against Villanova on Big Monday, averaging nearly 18 points per game and nearly 5 rebounds on the season. Both of these guys, I told him yesterday when I was collecting these answers, you guys are under a little bit of pressure. Last week, we had Zach Novak and Stu Douglas from Michigan against Ohio State, and both of them, Alex, down the gut of the game, hit huge shots. Just I want to tell you, there's a little bit of pressure on you, but first you got to get these questions right. Alex, I'll start with you. What did Jeremy say when I asked him the question, which player on your team do you want most to take the last shot? What did Jeremy say?
I'm going to go with Shabazz. I know he would say himself because he's a greedy dude, but I'm going to go with Shabazz.
Jeremy, what'd you say? Hold up your card, Jeremy. Show me what you said. Come on, Jeremy. Me.
I knew it.
All right, Jeremy, what did Alex say? Who should take the last shot?
I knew he wouldn't say himself, so I'll probably say Shabazz.
Shabazz? Jeremy.
I'm a team guy, man.
He gave you a little love here.
Yeah,
All right, who's the best dressed? Get rid of your first one, Jeremy. Who's the best dressed player on the team, Alex? Who did Jeremy say was the best dressed player?
I know it's not himself, but I think he said me.
Jeremy, you said. Show me your card. Niels Giffey.
No way.
So you guys have got to make a bucket here soon. Jeremy, who did Alex say was the best dressed guy on the team?
I'm going to have to say Ryan Boatwright.
You said me. You know, the one thing I will say is Lamb said he really loved your size 25 Chuck Taylor. All right, Alex, who did Jeremy say was the worst dressed guy on the team?
I'm probably going to go with Tyler Olander.
Jeremy, you said. Who'd you say, Jeremy? That's it. That's the right one.
That's the right one.
It is.
Damn, he hated.
He didn't like the shoes. All right, who did Alex say was the worst dressed guy on the team?
Me.
And Roscoe Smith.
We got to get one, man.
Yeah, you guys need to communicate here a little bit. Alex, tell me something that Jeremy said, things he doesn't hear, things you don't hear without Jim Calhoun at practice.
Probably say running suicides.
Jeremy, you said it's a little more G-rated at practice. So, Jeremy, what do you think Alex said that you don't hear when Calhoun's not at practice? I'm feeling bad for you. There's a big hint in your answer.
Yeah, he probably said it's more G-rated.
Close enough. More PG-rated. Give him a bell. Thank you very much. All right. Alex, what did Jeremy say was the most embarrassing thing he has on his iPod?
I'm going to go with Miley Cyrus.
Jeremy? Taylor Swift and Love Story. And Jeremy, what do you think Alex said was the most embarrassing thing on his iPod?
I have no idea. Probably.
Take a guess.
Anything.
Running out of time.
I don't know. I'll say Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus, and it is.
Rolling in the deep.
Adele, rolling. Hey, I don't think that's embarrassing. Though.
It's not.
That just shows good musical taste. Alex, thank you a lot for playing. Jeremy, thanks a lot, guys. Good luck tonight against Syracuse. Alex Oriaki and Jeremy Lamb tonight. You know what? Half-court shot 4 times at UConn this year. Guys won a contest making a half-quarter.
In my 25 years of practice, Rogain's been the most effective product I've seen to help stop hair loss. Nearly 9 out of 10 men regrow hair using Rogaine foam.
When you see that hair coming back, man, it's the greatest feeling ever.
Go to RogaineFoam.com and save $10.
Open up Pizza Hut's new $10 dinner box. All your favorites, all in one place. A medium one-topping pizza, freshly baked breadsticks and cinnamon sticks, plus marinara and sweet icing for dipping. Best of all, the $10 dinner box is only $10 and only at your Pizza Hut.
Thomas, look at what we did.
Great party, buddy! You only have 3, you Come on!
Want some of this?
This is your party.
Watch this.
Whoa.
Project X. I'm working on something downstairs.
Only thing you're working on is diabetes, you fat.
Rated R starts March 2nd.
You'll just follow me, please.
I'll catch up. I just want to snag the last Diet Dew.
Last Diet Dew? How would you like to trade that refreshing Diet Dew for an autograph?
Autographs aren't delicious.
Hey, what about a catchphrase? I got a guy.
Hey, how about we share? I'm not greedy. I just love the taste of Diet Dew.
Or how would you like to be my new co-host?
Deal.
Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah, it tastes that good.
That is totally worth it.
It's President's Day. Celebrate with a GMC Sierra.
with precise control to manage the load. And fuel economy, together with power and acceleration. It's our best Sierra ever. Hail to the Chief. Celebrate President's Day and trade up to the 2012 GMC Sierra. Get 0% financing for 60 months, plus $1,000 trade-in allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
Bait cast reels take some getting used to, and you'll want a quality reel to help avoid backlash. You might just want to trade that one in.
During the Bass Pro Shop Spring Fishing Classic, save up to an extra $100 on a new reel when you trade one in. Like an extra $20 off this Carbon Light bait caster.
Do not run with these.
Hey, Clark, what you got there?
It's my number. It's the amount I need to save to retire the way I want. Is that your number?
Yeah.
A gazillion, huh?
Gazillion, bazillion. It's just a guesstimation.
Oh, how do you plan for that?
Well, I blindly throw money at it and hope something good happens.
So you really don't have a plan?
I really don't.
Do you know your number? We can help you find yours and take steps to get there. Learn more at ing.com/US.
How do you make a name at Daytona? Make a statement. Danica Patrick and NASCAR's Young Guns look to make a name on the biggest stage in racing. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona, today at noon Eastern on ESPN.
College Game Day is covered by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And in part by Rogaine. Are you on the bubble when it comes to hair loss? Go to espnradio.com/Rogaine for an exclusive Bubble Watch discount.
A couple of women's games on ESPN2 Monday. Some of the top teams in the country. 3 of the top 4 in Baylor, Notre Dame, and UConn starting at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Let's take a look at the Bubble Watch brought to you by Rogaine. There are some teams who might find their chances receding if they don't win today. Alabama, VCU, Kansas State in good shape at the moment, but they need to avoid losses coming down the stretch. All right, it is time for the State Farm half-court shot. $18,000 up for grabs. If Scott Carroll can make it from half-court, this is Sharon Kim from State Farm representing the 18,000 agents across North America. So, Scott, line up. Let's go. As many shots as you can launch in 18 seconds. You know, UConn has had 4 guys make half-court shots in contests this year. It's been 4 years since we've had one made on College Game Day. Come on, Scotty, you got this, kid. Plenty of time. One more time. That's online. Almost. Come on. Come on, Scott. Launch it. Get there. One more time. Get it up. Good run at it for Scott Carroll. Instead, you'll get $1,800 for participating. I don't know how they've had 4 guys make half-court shots this year in contests, Jay. It's remarkable.
It is remarkable, and I'll tell you, it's going to take a remarkable effort for UConn to stop Syracuse, because Syracuse does run some good half-court offense. And in the ING game plan breakdown, we're going to take a look at Scoop Jardine out top, making a pass to Brandon Trish on the wing. Then he's going to make a UCLA cut off of Baikeda. That's going to get them into kind of floppy action when they're pinned down. Crosses underneath by Chris Joseph and by Jardine, coming off those pinned down screens. Now, when Jardine catches the ball on the right, he's got a shot, but he doesn't take it. He's also got a guy posting, and then he's going to come off of a ball screen, and they do a great job off of ball screens. Jardine goes over the top, his defender goes underneath, and he's got 2 shooters on the left, one in the corner, and then roll and replace action. But instead, because his defender went underneath, he winds up taking the shot. A little bit of different action. Then he hits Chris Joseph at the high post, and he's going to have a handoff option. The guy guarding Joseph doesn't step in. Jardine's defender is on his hip, so he can just go over the top. If anybody helps up, all of a sudden he's got a shot, and then that opens up the offensive glass for Fab Melo. And this is a good offensive rebounding team, especially Melo, who gets almost 3 offensive rebounds per game. You know, we talk about transition, but Syracuse is pretty darn good in their half-court offense, especially with ball screens.
It is time to make our Chevrolet Saturday selections. We will get to Syracuse and UConn in the Big East, but we're going to start in the Big 12. Missouri coming off a loss to Kansas State. They go to the Fog. Who wins it?
I like Kansas. You know, Missouri all year has struggled with big front lines. They play big, and Kansas has a big front line. I look for Thomas Robinson. Jeff Withey had 0 points in that first matchup. Not this time. I look for Kansas to win.
It's payback time.
Yeah, they had an 11-0 run when you look at Missouri to win that game 74-71. The fact is this, Ricardo Ratliff's going to get in foul trouble with that front line with Robinson and company. They get it done in a payback game.
You know, Withy's been really good over the last 5 games. I think Kansas wins, and Tyshawn Taylor, I think, will have a really good game.
And our game tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be in 3D if you have that. UConn and Syracuse. Syracuse has never won here. Does that change tonight?
No, I do. I think Syracuse wins. I think they'll finish the possessions with a rebound. I think they'll create turnovers and allow them to get in transition into the open court, where I think Syracuse is fantastic. I look for Syracuse beating UConn tonight, Coach.
Well, to me, it's going to be UConn. The reason why? They played for 34 minutes and we're down 2. Syracuse goes on that 19-3 run. That ain't going to happen tonight because the Cuse goes down, they're getting it done, and they're back in the hunt for big-time NCAA stuff.
UConn does a really good job against the Syracuse defense because they get the ball